in the preparation of this conference, I found out one thing. I found out that there is a profession that was developed in the last 10, 15 years because of climate change issue. There's a whole profession of people who can connect with the civil society sector, the corporate sector, and also the education sector. These people are people who are working in the, say, business, in the ESG sector, and also civil society, education, and different area. And I can see that, say, university are now opening many courses on ESG related people. And these people need to know about the society and also sometimes, not sometimes, always the business logic and the language. And in the preparation of this, I have met some very good people here. Apart from, say, Patrick, who was the respondent from the previous session, and in this section, when we talk about the business and ESG and culture, I have invited two very good friends, Janice and also Karen. So I think I am very interested, because I'm more from the culture sector, about, say, how these people look at ESG, business, and also culture. As we all know that we cannot, say, push our, say, climate, say, goal and also sustainability goals only from either one of the sector. We have to work it out together. So without further ado, may I invite the first speaker of this section, Janice, who is from Hutchison Communication. And Hutchison has been very, very helpful in supporting the 5G communication of this venue, so that we can, so this section, apart from a very impressive full house on a Sunday morning, we also have, say, hundreds of, say, participants joining us online. Thank you, Hutchison, and let's welcome Janice.
Thank you, Louis, for your introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to share with you how culture is driving sustainability and how together they are shaping the future of business. I believe many of you have probably heard of Hutchison Telecom Hong Kong or are using our services. We are one of the leading mobile telecommunication operators in Hong Kong with over 40 years of history. Basically, we offer diverse and advanced mobile telecom services to consumer and enterprise customers under various brands, 3 Hong Kong, 3 Supreme, 3 Business, and SoSIM. Everyone is talking about digital transformation. What is it? So with technology today, we can enable new and different types of collaboration between art and technology. And at the same time, ESG and sustainability is one of our company's core values, which we prioritize on promoting sustainable developments in our society. Hoping to use some pictures to wake everyone up on a Sunday morning. Stepping back, I want us to kind of revisit the evolution of mobile technology from 1G to 5G. 1G, we're talking about in 1979. This is when we could only make voice calls. You know, mobile phones were very chunky, not very classy. They had big antennas. 2G, we had the luxury of having voice and SMS. Now, with the introduction of 3G in the 2000s, there was also multimedia and the introduction of smartphones. 4G, we had video streaming, and 5G, there was video live cast. So what does 5G mean? Right here. 5G is super high speed, massive connectivity, and ultra low latency. We've tried to put in graphics. So if you liken 5G to a rocket, 3G is probably just like a high speed train, and 1G is like you're riding a bicycle. And what it means for the business world is with 5G, doctors and surgeons can even perform surgeries over mobile connection. When people used to ask me what I can't leave home without, it was probably my wallet, my keys, and my phone. I think some or all of you might agree nowadays you only need your mobile phone because you can already get on the subway, you can do your shopping with your mobile wallet, you can even have a digital car key and go out, and you can get money from your ATM, which actually to me is a little bit scary, but it saved me on one occasion. So what does this mean for our business? So Hutchison Telecom Hong Kong's network can enable activities which need this high-speed, ultra-low latency network to run smoothly. And by integrating this advanced technology with art, we can let viewers experience and view art in a more new and innovative format. Before I go on to some of our examples, I just want to circle back to two of our conference themes of advocacy and conservation. The projects I want to talk about hopefully can demonstrate how we use culture and cultural platforms to promote and advocate sustainable development, and also how our company is contributing to conserving cultural heritage. How do we make art more accessible through technology? The first event, Orb Stellar, this was a Big Bang immersive experience hall. In 2021, it was actually one of our pivotal events because you could see us transforming from being a traditional mobile telecoms operator to more of a 5G digital service provider. Using the latest technologies, 3D motion graphics, sound, and reflections, we could introduce digital new media art. What does it mean for the visitor? So when you walk into this immersive experience hall, it's as if you've walked into space. You can experience or you're immersed in a galaxy. And using your own mobile device with a specific app, you could create your own unique planet. And this planet would be projected onto the space using different light and shadow. And you could even take your planet home, captured onto a coin as a souvenir. The second project I'd like to highlight is one we collaborated on with Resorts World Cruises and Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra. This was actually Hong Kong's first ever 5G live broadcasting concert from a cruise ship. It was during the time when the first cruise ship set sail after the pandemic. So there was actually limited space on the ship, but we wanted to bring the concert to a wider audience, to the Hong Kong community, but also people overseas. So we could use live streaming to bring this to spectators. Some of you, well, I guess you probably wouldn't think about it, but live streaming from a cruise ship at sea is actually extremely difficult because there's unstable weather conditions. There isn't a fixed sailing route, and there's also a lot of mobile interference from both sides of the Victoria Harbour. So our network team had to conduct extensive network trials to meet these challenges and ensure that we had a stable and smooth 5G live broadcast. So we're very proud and we're very lucky that we could bring this spectacular culture event to our community and also promote the development of local art tech and contribute to Hong Kong as an events capital. The next one is Art Basel, another mega event in the art space. We've been the official partner of Art Basel Hong Kong for 4 consecutive years now, being a dedicated 5G mobile broadband service provider, but we also provide bespoke 5G solutions to the organizer. You're probably wondering what are bespoke 5G solutions. So put in layman terms, a smart people counting solution so that the organizer can actually have real-time data on the visitor flow. They can better manage the traffic at the event, but they can also get valuable data analysis for future event planning. In particular, again, I would like to highlight our work during the pandemic. Art Basel was able to combine its offline exhibition with an online platform to hold the event in a hybrid format. So imagine online viewing rooms, online auctions, live stream videos, so that the public who wanted to attend the exhibition but couldn't because of travel restrictions could still enjoy the art fair. Before I jump into this, a little bit of advertising is that we're continuously enhancing our network coverage and our network capacity to support Hong Kong as a mega event economy. We've launched 5.5G network hotspots in prominent venues, so Kai Tak Sports Park, Hong Kong Cultural and Convention Center, and West Kowloon Cultural District. So next time when you're at these venues, you're uploading posts on IG and other social media, hopefully you should find that you have a smoother and faster experience, and it's largely because we've done network enhancements in these areas. The fourth project I would like to highlight is a collaboration with Tishan Monastery and the Hong Kong Chinese Orchestra. Again, this was a time during the pandemic. I would say the overall sentiment was quite negative. Everyone was fairly frustrated. And as we all probably agree, music is a universal language. So we wanted to bring some positive energy to everyone, Hong Kong community and also overseas. So what we could enable was live streaming of the concert, but also facilitated that the in-person and online audience could participate in an interactive flower offering ceremony, Hin Fa. So through this collaboration, we were able to bring such a breathtaking spiritual sanctuary to a global audience. I think even as a Hong Kong resident myself, I haven't had the chance or time to visit Tisanzi, so I think that was a very great collaboration. And then lastly, a more recent collaboration with a renowned local performing art group. This was to produce Hong Kong's first 5.5G interactive drama. We wanted to transcend the conventional mode of performance with new elements. So you're not just the audience enjoying the theater from down below. The drama actually has a bit of it slightly touches on communication, the question of, are some things better left unsaid? So with that spin, there's also the chance for the audience to see the actors up close. You could dial in. For example, the actor and actress is having a phone call. You could actually dial in with your own mobile device, and you would have a first-person view of the actor, which usually, unless you zoom in with your iPhone, you can't really see. So I think this helps to shift the perspective, and you can enjoy a much more intimate experience of the drama. So hopefully with all these examples, what I found after actually putting this together, art-tech collaborations reveal a very powerful truth. Art knows no limits, and art is for everyone. Now back to the topic, one of the other topics of the day. Another theme of the conference is practice. How do we practice carbon reduction, and how do we as a business operate responsibly to achieve our sustainability initiatives? AI, as we often talk about now, the integration of AI helps us achieve energy efficiency. Previously, a lot of the system settings in our base stations were manual, so it lacked a lot of flexibility. Nowadays, leveraging AI, we can monitor our network traffic and our resources allocation 24/7 and real time. So our network can actually switch automatically to an energy saving mode during low traffic periods. That can help us reduce our power usage without compromising on our service quality. To put it into context, carbon savings from this particular AI energy saving solution is around 1,000 flight journeys between Hong Kong and Barcelona. And some other solutions that we are currently having in place are EcoSIM and eSIM. These also help to drive progress in sustainable waste management and environmental conservation. Traditional SIM cards contribute to plastic and electronic waste. However, EcoSIM offers a greener alternative. The plastic sections are actually made from 100% recycled plastic. Meanwhile, eSIM technology eliminates physical SIM cards altogether, helping to significantly cut down on electronic waste. And just wrapping up here, I think regardless of the type of company that we are, cost is a priority. But other than cost, what else might businesses look at when considering potential collaborations? We may look at the business relevance. How relevant is this potential partnership or collaboration? How relevant is it to our business? Can it help us elevate and improve our respective brands? Can we use our technology to empower the development of more innovative practices? And will the collaboration help to foster stronger customer engagement? And overall, is there going to be any synergistic collaboration whereby together we can magnify the impacts? Ultimately, we want to understand how we can work together to channel the latest technologies into innovations and set new market trends and industry development. But in order to achieve and deliver long-term sustainable growth and value, we can't do this alone. Internally within our organization, we need to work together across departments, but also externally together with our different business partners. I think only together can we achieve a more sustainable society. So closing up here, I hope that my sharing has offered you a deeper insight into what we do, what Hutchison Telecom Hong Kong does, but more importantly, has sparked your curiosity on how technology can enable different presentation or experiences in art, and how we can elevate art to unlock new dimensions of creative expression. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice from Hutchison Telecommunication. In the era of, say, sustainability-related activities in a corporation, in our business, is not only rest with, say, corporate social responsibility. It is coming into, or it has come into the core business of corporation and business too. So we are happy to have more, say, discussion and more connection from the cultural sector, sustainability sector, and the business sector. So may I introduce Karen, who has been helping this forum for a lot. In the last several months, Karen has been, say, helping this initiative into recording some related video on, say, on sustainability and culture and different things. So hand over to you, Karen.
Yeah, thank you, Liz, for the invitation. So what I'm going to share is not quite relevant to my business. As a sustainability practitioner, I've been always in the corporate world. But often people ask me what exactly you do in your company. So I think this is very relevant to this conference because we kind of struggling like how to mainstream art and culture in the corporate world. So I think similar to ESG. Everybody think that, oh, sustainability and driving profit is two extreme ideas. So how can what have I been doing to integrate two very different concepts? So I'm working for CTFS, formerly known as NWS Sun Chongqing, now as Zhao Daifuk Chongqing. So which is we got a very diverse portfolio. So we can summarize as we are industrial conglomerate because we do have some toll road, warehouse, facility management, but we also have financial services as well as construction. So I have to integrate one concept into many different business units. It makes it even harder. So as a listed company, so everybody when they ask me, so you basically do reporting? Yes, I do reporting. But in the world of in-house sustainability, we also work on the ESG strategy. We also do a lot of stakeholder engagement. And also we need to build the internal capacity, like aka known as we have to build a sustainability culture internally. So other than reporting, we do a lot of collaboration, engagement, knowledge transfer. So I think this is quite relevant to this conference. So as said, I do reporting. But reporting is one of the output what we have been doing. So in the world of disclosure, we have been talking about transparency, numbering disclosure, don't mind the scope 1, 2, 3, you don't have to know it, data quality, and the stronger integration. As Janice has mentioned, how we integrate ESG to our business is one of our key roles. So don't mind that. But I would use those some technical example to show you what we have been doing. So as like we have to drive performances we need KPI. So I think similar to when you collaborate with corporate, we all often ask you, what is the impact number? What is the outcome? So similarly, when I drive ESG internally, I need to set a very structured target in order I can drive performances, and then I can communicate with our business unit. That's what we want you to do. So think about it, what you can do. So don't have to be very complicated. Don't have to be like very complex. It has to be simple. It could be applied to all your business unit. So I won't go into it, but it's some basic thing like in the ESG world, we talk about social finance, we talk about climate change. But when we talk about scope 1, 2, 3, that's like, it means nothing to most people. So we have to translate into action. So you all heard about climate change, but in the technicality, it's all about carbon emission. So we got scope 1 and 2, scope 3. Scope 1 and 2 is more like our direct emission. And then for our scope 3, it's more like how we manage our supply chain. You don't have to know the details. But when I do strategy, we often think about what can we do, what is the feasibility of our company. So when people ask me, oh, that would be so difficult for you to talk about net zero because you have so many business units. That's not quite. So it's often important to understand what is your pain point. So we do like the hotspot analysis. Then I find out that all my scope 1 and 2 is coming from Hip Hang and our facility, the Hong Kong CEC, the conventional center. So when I allocate my resources, I will put my resources to these two businesses when I need to manage those emission reduction. And also for my scope 3, it's mainly from the purchase goods and services, it's mainly from Hip Hang. So we will like explore with Hip Hang whether you can review your supplier and see whether we can purchase something low carbon product, et cetera, et cetera. And then another thing is investment. So we also look at our investment portfolio and see what can we do more with our investee company. So whenever you think about, oh, it's a very broad topic, always find a focus. So I said that after we do also analysis, then we kind of like narrow it down, what can be done. So we just focus on things that is feasible for our company. We don't do everything because we don't have all the resources we have. So once we kind of identify what are the decarbonization level, and then we focus on different entities, then we can be more focused and targeted. So don't have to read through the details, but I just want to show you that we also use, we kind of mentioned that common language like throughout the discussion. We also creating common language to our business unit as well. Technology is one of the things we have been talking a lot in our business unit. So for example, for our construction segment, we use a lot of technology to improve our ESG. Through like the implementation of technology, we have improved the working environment in the construction site. We also promote digitalization in the construction industry, which also improve the safety and accessibility. Also, it's a very main thing is we can attract more young talent to the construction segment. So I think for ESG, it's a broad concept, but what we are trying to do is use the right tool to kind of like facilitate the transition. So similarly, for our employee engagement, we also leverage technology also for Hip Hang in specific because we deal with a lot of construction worker. So how we communicate to our construction worker, we also leverage on some apps because like for a younger generation, we don't do the notice board. We will just give them a notification to inform them the weather, is there any updates within the construction site. It's more efficiency and it is more effective. So also for our CEC, we also try to apply different technology to manage the traffic in Wan Chai. So it should also help those organizers when they go to CEC to set up, they don't have to wait for a long time. So I think ESG is a thing, and then what we are trying to think of is what are the feasible tools that we can be used. So Also in our tour, we also use some technology to help those travelers. Also, we also implement a lot of EV charging station to help the transition of the car owners to kind of like, as we have more EV on the road, we need to support them to have a safe traveling when they use our road. So another thing, in a corporate world, we talk about money, but how we use our money, how we do our investment, it makes a lot of difference. So this year we also, we kind of like purchased the green electricity certificate. Not just that we want to reduce our emission, but we want to support the transition in the region as well. We also support the local renewable energy project in China. Also, it helps me to kind of achieve my emission target. But how we use our money kind of like is very important for the transition. So another thing that, as I mentioned, if you recall, one of the key emission is our scope-free investment emission. Our finance emission is kind of make up like close to 90% of our whole portfolio. So what we're trying to do is how we kind of integrate some guideline for the business side to do the investment. How we invest really make an impact on climate change, how we do better business. So we do have two sets of different guidelines. One is for CTF Life because they manage the client portfolio. For CTFS Group, for our joint venture, associate company, we do have a screening process before we do our investment. So I think in the corporate world, we talk about like operation, but we also talk about money. How we use our money is crucial for leading the transition. So as said that, another role like that I've been doing internally is build a sustainability culture. So similar to maybe most of the audience, I do a lot of engagement. We do a lot of initiative to make sure that to kind of like facilitate our colleague to understand what is ESG, how can they do their operation, like can look through from the ESG lens. So internally, we do a lot of project like impact fund. We kind of like introduce a project fund to facilitate our colleague to think from the ESG perspective. Also, we have leadership workshop, fireside chat. All we are doing is building the culture for the transition. So that's what I want to share, and maybe we can talk a little bit more at the panel discussion.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Please stay, and we will have a chat together with Janice. Thank you.
Sorry.
So after hearing your sharing, I think you guys are really busy. It looks like that you spend a lot of time using your, say, professionalism and knowledge to help your internal, say, department and business unit to meet the sustainability goal of your company and to meet the compliances that require to do your business. So you spend a lot of time, say, working internally with almost all departments. Let me ask you, when you, and I think you also sometimes need to work with the community. The community can be, say, contractor, service providers, and also, say, partnership in the community. So in view of the context of our conference today, which is the culture sector, may I ask both of you, usually when do you need to, say, engage with the, say, community in the culture sector? And when you do that, what kind of, say, opportunities are there? And, sorry, it's a complicated question. And do you also expect your community partners to be, say, ESG savvy or ESG well performed? Do you want the environmental group, conservation group, and also arts and culture organization to be a little bit well aware of the ESG and sustainability goal? Or do you just want them to provide the service, or as contractor, you don't care? So it's a complicated question. You can think for 15 seconds and come back to me. Okay.
Yeah, I think like whenever we look for contractor, vendor, partner, it's all about like what I need. So I do a lot of partnerships. So every time when I reach out to a partner, I often have a very, very clear objective, what I want to do. And the partner probably is offering some tool for me to do the engagement. So I think it's more like a medium. Like, of course, like what you talk about, I want them to understand what I'm talking about. So if they have no knowledge on ESG, it will make it very difficult for me to do the communication. But I technically, I don't work directly with a lot of art and culture group, but I think it is always a very good medium for me to do the engagement. But of course, I need to know what are the possibilities. Like, I want creativity, but in the corporate world, we are very boring people. So we often do seminar, we do workshop, we do different discussion, but I still exploring like what are the possibilities to leveraging art and culture as one of the medium that for me to do better internal communication. But what I'm trying to think about like different creative ways of doing so.
But and a part of the question is, do you want them to be, say, sustainability well-equipped or well-performed?
I wouldn't say well-equipped because like I'm more like an in-house expert. So what I'm trying to do is finding the tool to do some of the things that I want to do. So I would like them to have the basic knowledge, not that, oh, I need to know like what is scope 1 and 2 and 3. If I need those kind of expertise, I won't go to art and culture community.
Well, okay. You will go to environmental groups.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Listen. Okay. Janice.
Okay. Okay. Let me share a bit. Timing. You first asked about when we reach out to these art and culture groups. I think I mentioned it's important that we collaborate. So obviously, all the time and whenever possible. As Karen says, each company has their own corporate agenda. We have our own initiatives, financial targets, ESG targets, operational targets that we wish we can meet. So obviously we would be fairly proactive in reaching out to different partners that we see we could collaborate with. At the same time, we also hope that through different opportunities, like today, or other sessions, where we meet different people of different backgrounds, that people will also reach out to us, because otherwise it's not a one-way interaction is two ways. Do we expect them to know about ESG? I think it would be helpful if they could share their ESG journey, or they had some initiatives in mind. But I would say it's not critical, because even within our own organization, not everybody knows what ESG is. Every day we are educating even our own staff, trying to engage them, to tell them what are we trying to do? What do these metrics mean? And you can't just tell people to meet targets if you don't explain to them how does it translate to business terms.
So you basically what you say is you do not need those partnership organizations to have their own ESG report.
No, I think one of the things that, not ESG report per se, but you have to know that like as for ESG practitioner, as a listed company, we need to do reporting. So as I sort of briefly walk through what we're trying to do is data transparency, impact measurement. So I don't need you to kind of like do a full ESG report, but I would like to, if I have some partnership with you, or maybe we kind of like partnership for an initiative, we would like to know the impact number because we want to tell our management, to tell our stakeholders what we have been doing is impactful. Not that we want all the quantitative numbers, but we want to tell people we spend those money, what we're trying to do, and what are the outcomes. So I think this is the important part.
So this is something people should go to you with, this kind of number. Janice?
Let me supplement or share a bit on my view. I think everyone is using the term ESG sustainability, and we're still talking about needing to educate different people around us within and outside the organization. So I believe that everyone is doing something. It's not, ESG doesn't mean you must be reducing your carbon emissions. You must be using recycled plastic. Even from a social aspect or from a governance aspect, all of that together counts towards ESG. And I'm sure, you know, a lot of companies are already doing it already, but they don't know it's now packaged as ESG. So through talking with them, I mean, as a listed company, we obviously have obligations to make disclosures. For smaller companies, NGOs, I expect they may not be willing to disclose certain data to third parties, or they may not have a very fancy way or calculated methodology of tracking their emissions or spending at this stage. So I think it's a learning process, and we're willing to do it together. We don't expect companies to have everything there or understand what we're doing on day one, but as long as we can communicate what it is we're looking for, I think there's, you know, that's a good start to a potential collaboration already.
Thank you very much. I would like to open to the floor for Q&A. Do you have a question, Ivy? And then how about next one? And yeah.
Hi, we're from Carbon Care, you know, one of the co-organizers. I guess we are the only one doing the scope 1, 2, 3 so far amongst all the co-organizers. Which I would really love to know about is that when we talk about ESG, there has been a huge gap between the understandings among civil societies and corporates. And we are kind of like in between, like knowing the differences, but we also see the capacity building is very important, and which is something like missing right now, because like for most of the civil society working in arts and culture or universities, they have lots of like hands-on tasks, hot tasks that sustainability, you need resources to join it, and then we also really want to contribute to it. But how do you see corporates as the role who may have extra resources to help funding some of the capacity building, or how would you see like a successful or something that you're looking forward to see that, oh, that's something that I am willing to put in the resources to help the industry to develop sustainable practices? So I'm very interested to know about like from the perspective of like corporates.
I think it's more like what kind of capacity that you need to build, because for civil society, for university, you have a very defined objective, because for a civil society, you have a mission to do. So what I'm trying to, I won't put the resources to build like build your capacity on understanding of the ESG, right? So when we talk about, you need to know the corporate agenda. We talk about scope 1 and 2 and 3, you know, like we talk about supply chain. So if I have resources, I would build a capacity throughout my supply chain. But what makes me to kind of put on the resources to civil society, to a group, probably I find a need from you guys. I see that some product or services or expertise that which I think it could be integrated to my company. As you can see that I do a lot of internal capacity building. So on and off, I talk to a lot of different service providers. I see what are some new idea that for me to help me to do a lot of engagement, because we do a lot of engagement. I do monthly mini fireside chat, I do impact fund, I do capacity building with all my business unit. So that's a lot of opportunity that you can use your expertise to help me. But sometimes I don't have the capability to think of how I integrate ESG to your expertise. So if you can kind of like propose some kind of possibility to us, then I think a lot of corporate would willing to allocate some resources as a tool, like to help our colleague to understand a little bit more on ESG.
Very good. Heyman?
Yeah.
Oh, Janice. Janice, then Heyman.
Okay, sorry, very quickly. You know, on my earlier presentation, I did mention some parts that we look at aside. Cost, definitely, all companies look at cost, you know, cost benefit. But aside from cost, which is much more quantifiable, you know, I think when we look at collaboration or resources, what we can provide, is there any synergy there, you know, would working together, capacity building, would it benefit both of us, and is there a magnified impact? I think these are all very important. Obviously, from the art tech projects we've done and other different collaborations, we'd be very willing to share our experience, our learnings, and also, you know, we are part of CK Hutchison Group. So there's also not just there's telco in Europe and around the world, which we can leverage, you know, their experience and share their learnings, but also, you know, retail, ports, different businesses where we can learn from them, may not exactly be replicable in the same form, but I think that can kind of provide some sharing and hopefully also help towards capacity building.
Thank you very much. Heyman?
Hi, thanks for sharing, Janice and Karen. So I'm an art and cultural strategist, and I want to thank you for your support for our previous project, Digital Art Fair. It's a big technological support for the fair. I think people often underestimate the power of technology and how you can make things happen for the arts and cultural projects. And I think that's very important as we're getting to see more and more digital art content in the exhibition. So my question to you too is that, you know, we saw the news last week about Bill Gates saying that while sustainability or climate change is very important, but we should prioritize our resources, very limited resources, to even more important subjects like health and education. So for sure, all the big bosses will say that, oh, even Bill Gates saying that, so we're going to spend less resources and money on ESG. So what's your response to that? How can you make it like a convincing case for your boss to continue to spend money on that?
I always say that like a good sustainability ESG strategy is eventually we don't have a ESG team. We have fully integrate everything to our operation. So I wouldn't say we are more like a facilitator, like internally. I don't do operation. So if you say spend more on health and safety, go and do so. You need me to do facilitation. So I won't like lost my job. So it's okay. So I think it's not about getting more money for sustainability. It's all about we raising the awareness on different topics. So when you talk about health and safety, then yeah, it's very important. It's important for our operation. Go ahead. So I would think about like what are the resources that you need, or what kind of partnership that we can do to kind of like facilitate the transition. So it's all about like, when I talk to my boss, it's all about the impact and the outcome. It's not about you give me the money, but if you give me the money, I can do a little bit more.
On that note, I would say when we discuss with management, obviously impact naturally translates to cost. Anything greener, more organic, environmentally friendly, that's going to be more expensive. As Karen said, it would be great if ESG is integrated fully into the organization. But I think, you know, no matter how high or not as high on the priority list, we still need, you know, ESG people or a dedicated team to kind of be the bridge between the various departments. We need someone to guide everyone, because it's impossible for everyone to move forward together. Even if you're dragon boating, you still need someone at the front hitting the drums so that everybody is following the same rhythm so that you could go forward together and synchronized. So with ESG, I feel the same, even if it's integrated. You do need someone to lead you and tell you, how to move things. And I know we're running out of time, but I also want to move away from cost. Everyone's talking about cost, but with the recent regulatory changes, stock exchange asking us to disclose more on climate change impacts, actually, the positive thing that comes out of that is, we're paying more attention to how climate change is impacting our cost structure, what it means, how it translates to operational impacts and financials, how it impacts our assets and our costs, but at the same time, revenue. There's a lot of opportunities. Maybe it takes more time. Cost, obviously, once it's spent, everyone is red light, alarm bells ring. But in the long run, there are a lot of opportunities coming out of these climate changes and ESG initiatives that people don't really recognize. And I think we need to focus more on that and educate everyone that, there's always going to be risk, but there's also opportunities that we can monetize and we can benefit from. So we should focus also on that.
This is a very good question. On the compliance side, the restriction and the requirement is getting higher and higher. And on the other side, Bill Gates saying that we should not spend so much money on sustainability. So obviously, Bill Gates is not the boss of the world and the stock exchange. So we are receiving different, views on sustainability, and I really think this is a very lively section. I have a question over there from Yolanda and then Benny on the front.
Thank you so much for your sharing. My name is Yolanda, and I currently work in a philanthropic organization. And maybe just to continue with that, discussion about ESG or like Bill Gates' comment, because I think from my understanding, for example, ESG isn't just about environment; it's also social, it's also governance. And I suppose like a lot of the discussions around ESG is environmental and about sustainability on the environment and like green nature front. But I wonder if corporate are also working towards building metrics for the social parts. I think maybe for organizations like cultural organizations that tend to be nonprofit and with less resources, not just monetary, but also in terms of manpower and expertise related to the technical aspects of ESG, it seems to me that perhaps, for everyone else here as well, like maybe the social side could be a way in or a consideration because of how much, we talk about livelihoods, we talk about culture. I wonder if there are any kind of initiatives working towards that front and to bridge the understanding or to have a fuller picture of ESG in relation to not just arts and culture as a social part, but also in terms of health or education and other things. Thank you.
Maybe I can go first. I think, personally, I think that environmental is the most focused part because it's the easiest that you can see the outcome or the impact. You can measure it. With social, it may be harder, but certainly for our company ourselves, maybe just share some of the initiatives that we have. We do value social well-being, a social aspect, community investment, but also the well-being of our staff, because I think if you're not happy, you're not going to function well, you're not going to be enjoying your job, and that's very important for us to work together. Some of the initiatives we've had this year, just very high level, we have invited dietitians or health experts to come in to give speaker talks to raise awareness. I think everyone's, in Hong Kong in particular, everybody is too busy trying to get things done. They don't stop and take a moment for themselves. And we realize that, and obviously we need to remind management as well. This is also a very important aspect for a company to stay healthy. Not going to be able to make money, make good business decisions if everybody is not thinking clearly. And so social is also an aspect that we value and we prioritize.
Yeah, I think it's not us want to talk more on the environmental side, but basically is the GHG is more like, it can be quantified. It's more like monetize for now, because like for the bank, we talk about social finance and things like that. They focus more on the environmental side. So you will see more exposure of those parts. But we also work on, I also manage my corporate foundation. So we work with a lot of local charity as well. The problem of the social index or measurement, I think it's a pain point for the civil society as well, because what you've been doing is more like qualitative. The impact itself cannot be measured sometimes. Before and after is not something we can measure in number of ways. So I also work closely with my charity partner. Sometimes we talk about impact. Not that I need you the number, but I need to know how much I input, what is the output, and then we can talk the story. Because like, whenever I receive a proposal from charity partner, you just talk about the vision. That means quite nothing for me, because I need to answer to my management why I invest on this community project, how it's going to address some of the pillars, our community pillars. So it always has to, it's alignment, it's always about alignment. Whenever you go to a fund, a project fund, do look at their like pillars, what are their focuses, and understand that like what they want to achieve. Sometimes they have some numerical like target, then always like look into it and then trying to align what they need. Yeah.
Thank you. Last question from Benny.
Yeah, it's not really a question, but a comment, but fragmented thoughts, but feel free to respond. I mean, listening to the session and also questions asked by, like specifically by Louis and also by Ivy, it just got me thinking, because I just feel that somehow our discussion is still, very much on the level that, okay, we need, the arts and culture need corporate support. And then that puts the corporate at a higher level, and then the arts and culture at the subordinated level. I mean, of course, this has been something that we have kind of been quite used to for many years. But I just also want to say that in some other places, like for example in Singapore, of course Singapore is a different context, right? I mean, the government is putting a lot of effort to kind of force through policy the corporate and the arts to work together. And this is also my little hope that corporates, when we look at arts and culture, it's not really just to fulfill or your needs or to support, but rather how to co-create and co-invest. And you could actually create new revenue streams, through new IP creation. We were talking about IP, earlier with someone, and there are potential. And also for the arts and culture sector, my hope is that don't just think about government funding, but also thinking about how there could be other possibility, and working with corporates is not about commercialization, it's about getting other source of income to fulfill your mission. So I feel that there is a lot more chance to co-create, co-invest, and also work together at a more equal level. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Benny. I couldn't do a better concluding note to this very lively section. Thank you so much for our two speakers. I hand it over to the MC.